Okay, today we're going to be taking notes on subtracting decimals. So on the top of your page, go ahead and write subtracting decimals, because we always want to title our page. And we're going to box off a section for our rules. And then today we're going to have 4 examples. So in the remainder part of our page, you could write this right in your notebook. There are going to be 4 examples, so we're going to cross out 4 sections. Okay, so let's go back to our rules. Our rules start off the same way that they did for adding. The very first thing we want to do is line up the decimal. Once we line up the decimal, we want to subtract. And don't forget, with subtraction, you might need to borrow. And lastly, you're going to bring that decimal down to the answer. Now remember, if you don't write as fast as I do, that's the great thing about video lessons as we're learning. You can always press pause and then play again once you're ready and caught up. So we have our rules. We're going to do one example over here to the side. And we're going to look at 10 and 42 hundredths minus 7.6. So remember, the first thing we're going to do, it says, is line up the decimal. So we're going to line up the decimals, okay, and then we're going to fill in our numbers. 10 and 42 hundredths minus 7 and 6 tenths. And remember, we can put in 0 placeholders anywhere we have empty spaces, and we're going to subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2, but 4 minus 6, well, if I only have 4, I can't take away 6, so I've got to borrow. But if I look to that 0, there's nothing to borrow. So I got to go to the 1. And I take 10 from the 1, and that 0 becomes a 10. But now I still need to borrow, so I cross out that 10, it becomes a 9, and I can borrow. The 4 becomes a 14, because remember, I'm borrowing 10 when I borrow. Now 14 minus 6 I can do to get 8. 9 minus 7 is 2. And 0 minus 0, because when I borrowed, I had nothing left, is 0. Now remember, I don't have to put that 0 out front, so I have 2.82, or 2 and 82 hundredths. If you were a little confused on the borrowing, please reach out to your teacher and we can spend a little extra time reviewing how to borrow. But if you're good with the 282 or the 2 and 82 hundredths, please press next and go on to the first example.